everyone, it's Coach Fred here, and I'm going to be going over from the College Board official study guide for the SAT, Practice Test 3 Math Calculator. All right, so I love this question number 22. It says the sum of three numbers is 855. One of the numbers, x, is 50% more than the sum of the other two numbers. What is the value of x? Okay, so we have to get into a habit on the test of not just thinking algebraically, but thinking about best approaches to the problem. And I've got a lot going on here. I know that the sum of three numbers is 855, and it says one of the numbers is x. So I'm going to actually say that the other numbers are y and z. So I know that x plus y plus z equals 855. So for me, that right there tells me I'm probably not going to use algebra. I'm going to probably use the answers to help me. Now, I always check the answers are whole numbers. If the answers are whole numbers, then that is actually a nice way it is going to be a good time for you to use the answers to help. Okay, and it's also the calculator part. So we're going to let that calculator help us. Okay, so we know that one of the numbers, x, is 50% more. So it's bigger than the sum of the other two numbers, okay? So and it says, what is the value of x? So they're giving us four different values of x. All right, so if I let x be 570, I use example A. If I let x be 570, it needs to be 50% more than what the sum of these two are. All right, so I'm going to plug it into the equation I wrote. That's telling me that y plus z would be equal to 855 minus 570, which gives me 285. So I'm going to test, is 285 times 150%, so 1.5, does that give me 570? If it does, then 570 is the number because y plus z, the sum of it, 570 is 50% more than it. Okay, so I'm going to do 285 times 1.5, and that actually gives me 427. So 570 is not my number. Okay, and why did I multiply by 1.5? 1.5 includes the original amount. If I just multiply by 0.5, I'm going to take half of it, really. So I want 1.5 of it. I want it to be 1.5 times as big. All right, so I'm going to go, so it's not A. So I'm going to go on to 513. So I'm going to do 513 plus y plus z equals 855. Now I'm showing each step, but normally I'd be just looking at my calculator doing this. So I'm going to subtract 513. So I'm going to do 855 minus 513, which gives me 342. Okay, so it's saying that y plus z is 342. All right, so I'm going to test to see if 1.5 times that gives me 513. So I'm going to multiply that by 1.5. And guess what I get? I get 513. So that tells me that this is, that 513 is 1.5 times as big as y plus z, so 513 is my answer. Now, we could also think about it like this. These numbers, 214 and 155, they're awful small for the value of x to be added to get 50% more, to be 50% bigger than the sum of the other two numbers. So I didn't even actually look at those two numbers. Those didn't make sense to me. And when I think about these math problems, I have to put a little more thinking into it. I have to give it more than that 30 seconds where I give up. Because each of these problems isn't all that difficult if you put the time and thought into it. All right, hopefully that was a clear explanation. Might be a good time to practice it yourself and play around with the numbers. And I hope that it was helpful for you. Have a great day.